So we were in this live stream analyzing Donald Trump's and Volodymyr Zelensky's body language in this encounter to see if and how the war between Russia and Ukraine is going to be finished finally. And of course, Trump says that he can finish it, but of course he needs to win the elections. And the first thing that we saw was this clip of they going in. Many people have commented about how similar or not similar are Volodymyr Zelensky's body language with Biden or Trump. I see that it's pretty much the same. Among the gestures that I saw this kind of dismissive gesture when Trump was saying that we have a very good relationship. Was a bit of dismissive. Yes, and we also saw this, that Trump says that he has a very good relations with Putin, just Trump, not Zelensky, obviously, but at that moment, Zelensky had this a bit of a pacifying gesture. Could be nothing, but at the same time, could be that he is not comfortable, as you're going to see later. Then Zelensky himself begins to talk about Putin. He is visibly uncomfortable, and we also have a sudden change of expression. That at first they were talking about the meeting between Trump and Zelensky was really like pleased and confident. This is great. I'm meeting with Donald Trump, as in like he is happy for this to be happening. Maybe the meeting itself, all right. But when Trump begins to talk about the solutions, how is this going to end? You see that Zelensky's facial expression begins to change for some reason. That's something he's not that happy at all. And we see not only that he's tense because his elbows are a bit. You notice that Trump's elbows are like relaxed, but Zelensky's elbows are a bit outwards, like he wants to look bigger than he is. And we also saw gonna jump to this expression in which, well, it's a bit of sadness. We saw sadness and bitterness in other parts of this encounter, and we don't know if it's an emotional reaction to what is going on in Ukraine, of what is going with the people of Ukraine. There's so many things that we can take from here, but again, I'm trying to understand both the body language and the geopolitical stuff. You know that you have to make the analysis, you have to make a holistic analysis, in the sense of everything at once, because everything is related. And the last thing that we saw here, I thought that we have pointed out the hand. See this expression that also is like a bit of concern or sadness. I think I did. Okay, let's jump to this. The handshake. It's a classic Trump handshake with palms up and establishing eye contact. What does this do? This forces the other person to look down, okay, because the other person has to look for your hand. So it's a bit of power play. You do it, so you force people to look down. It's a classic power play. I remember that Obama did that a lot as well. This the classic political body language. Okay, couple handshakes and we were done in that part for now. But I wanted to point out both the hand and the chest that he is pleased that he was saying that he was, what did he say, that was Trump's honor to have this meeting to see how could they sort things out. I think this is an opinion that I have about this meeting. I think this is important because this way Trump can know how the process can be faster once and if he wins the elections in November. It would be nice to see the expectations and what is the plan that Zelensky has, what are his ideas. Of course, most people in the United States want this proxy war ended as soon as possible. And okay, this is the thing that I wanted to mention, that Zelensky showed a very subtle pressure of his right fist. At that point, we didn't know if it was an emotional reaction or if it was part of his body language baseline. All this part we had seen. We were comparing a bit with his appearances with Biden, but honestly, for example, in this one, I did not see much difference. He was kind of nervous. This was in July 2023, if I'm correct. Not much difference with Biden than with Trump. And regarding the pressing of the hands, we see that with Biden, it was the same. It's like part of his baseline. When he is like nervous, he presses his hands, something that he does. But it's the kind of clues that you should pay attention to, because that's the way that you can learn any person's body language, because every single one of us has very specific traits, and you just have to say, okay, at this moment this person began to stumble or stutter, as we are about to see, or this person pressed their lips when someone's name was mentioned. All those body language signals don't have a meaning in themselves, but are tiny signals of something that is going inside the person. That's why we need to keep an eye on all of them, even if they could be a bit, they could seem inconsequential at times. I have some markers in here. Let me see what was going on. They were speaking at this press conference.
It's a beautiful country, beautiful weather, beautiful everything.
Okay, my observation here is that when Trump was saying that it's a beautiful country, beautiful buildings and beautiful cities, Zelensky's smile was a bit bitter. Maybe he was reminiscing of his country, devastated. I don't think who might want this for their country. I that's something that I don't understand. Anybody would want this war ended as soon as possible. And if he had any idea, if Zelensky had any ideas to end this, he could have shared that with Biden as well. And whatever he's doing with Trump, and Biden is the president right now, why can't Biden do the same? Because if Zelensky has ideas for ending this war, why Biden doesn't do it? You know that I have to ask this kind of questions. I know that you have all kind of opinions about this, but I still have to ask these questions because many people just take this for granted. They tell you, okay, we have to send money to Ukraine. Okay, wait a minute. But what everyone really wants is this war to be over. Donald Trump wants it. Volodymyr Zelensky wants it. Joe Biden, I'm not so sure. Putin wants that war to be over. Has been really bad lately. Like the last 2 months have been horrible. We are seeing the dawn of the drone wars. And I wish there was drone on drone, but the war has turned into drone against humans. Drones are humans, and it's not pretty. There's some signals that's swallowing in there, and that pressing of the lips. I think that is usual fare. I wanted to mention, very important, the way that Zelensky spoke at the start of this clip.
Our people, of course, it will bring us closer to the peace. We need just peace. We need just peace. It's so important to have just.
He was talking really confident, in a confident way. But I think it was. Let me see. Let's jump to the part when he was when he began talking about Putin. He was stuttering. He was nervous. He was everything. There he goes. Notice
this war shouldn't be started, and I think that the problem that Putin killed so many people, and of course we need to do everything to pressure him to stop this war, and he's on our territory. That is the most important to understand. He's on our territory.
You see all those facial expressions that he is stuttering. He has more filler words. It's strange because is like not a good look, especially for the morale of your troops. And you're talking about your opponent, your enemy. You should be much more confident than that. You should practice that on the mirror every day. It's something that you have to do because this is very public. You are a very public persona, the most public person in Ukraine, and you're carrying this proxy war in your shoulders. And yes, you should at least give your country some kind of hope. And well, when you're talking about your opponent, you have to talk like without stuttering, without filler words. But you still notice that there's this covert anger when he's talking about Putin, has this very easy to spot covert anger expression in here. So I think that was it. Was a couple of things that I did not understand. It was when Donald Trump was talking about that Zelenskyy wanted to end the war. Zelenskyy was not nodding. There was no reaction. This is the last.
The president wants it to end, and he wants it to end as quickly as possible. He wants a fair transaction to take place, and I think. Right now I'm campaigning, so right now I don't have much to do with it other than.
There's no reaction from Zelenskyy. There should be nodding. Trump is saying the president wants this to end, and yeah, this is what I want. There should be a non-verbal confirmation of what Trump is saying, but we are not saying it at all. By the way, remember to download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. And well, that's it for. I think that's it for Zelenskyy and Trump. So let's make a short break.